Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Save Me From Livestream Friday. I'm so excited to be here with you today because we're going to talk about how to combat our hair specific damage at home. And so we're seeing a lot with a lot of quarantine type of remedies for our damaged hair. We've been seeing a lot of like do-it-yourself options. And one popular do-it-yourself hair mask, especially for women in India, is do-it-yourself fenugreek for hair. So you may have tried this even yourself, and you've even noticed the really replenishing benefits of fenugreek. But did you know that our hair repair treatments are 5 times more potent than if you were to apply this seed directly to your hair alone? So I'm really excited to go over that a little bit in further detail. But women in India would actually put these fenugreek seeds, if I can kind of show you without spilling them. So they would put these fenugreek seeds in their hair and absorb them in water overnight. Sorry, I skipped a step. And then they would grind them into a paste and then actually apply them from the ends to the scalp of their hair. And there's a lot of mucilaginous fiber in fenugreek seeds. And so they would actually use fenugreek over a period of time to really replenish and seal like any of those cracks in the hair cuticle. And this really works to mend any split ends, so the split ends don't travel up to the hair shaft. So then you're able, when you're going to get your hair cut, you don't have to cut as much off. You can also prolong your hair cuts and salon visits with Save Me From, and I'll get into that a little bit further. But what's incredible about fenugreek is not only is there that mucilaginous fiber, but it's got all of these really rich antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals that really work to restore shine, hydration, nourishment to the scalp, as well as repairing every layer of the hair strand. So I'm really excited to go over just how to combat any of those various sources of damage, because with a lot of these do-it-yourself at-home remedies, we're seeing a lot of, hey, you're going to get more hydration. You're going to get strength from your hair. They are not clinically backed, scientifically formulated. So the way that you're going to see the results are not going to be as potent and also have that purity and performance kind of developed into that formulation. So I just want to put that out there. If you're someone who does opt for that do-it-yourself type of route and you enjoy it, like that is totally up to you. And not telling you can't do that for your hair, but that is where Save Me From really comes in, because not only do you save time, you don't have to actually look up all of these different hair restorative treatments, but you actually just have here all of the potent, pure ingredients formulated in an airless pump. So not only is this incredibly hygienic, you're not dipping your fingers into the jar, but it's portion controlled as well. And incredibly emollient, incredibly thick, so nourishing. This is one of our strengthening formulas here. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit first. But here you can see just the richness, and we have such a versatility of these treatments. They can be applied on wet, damp hair. So when your hair cuticle is open, you're going to find the best results with these treatments, and they're just like separate from your shampoo and conditioner. You'd be using this after you shampoo and condition your hair, and then towel dry your hair. But look at this incredible reflect. I didn't do anything to my hand or anything to give this beautiful reflect. This is the formulation, and this is our chemical conflict. So if you're someone who's been bleaching or dyeing your hair and your hair is brittle, it's breaking, it's weak, feels like straw and breaks off like that, then you're going to need this formula, because this is incredibly strengthening, especially if you have over-processed hair. As a result, you definitely need to replenish that protein in your hair. And really dyeing your own hair, we're doing a lot of things at home, so we really want to be avoiding dyeing or bleaching our hair at home if we don't have experience doing so, because they can really have longer consequences in your hair's health than really the longevity of that specific color. So not only is this going to strengthen and really repair hydration, and as well as be a lot less resistant to that breakage and snapping effects, but you're also going to get that color, vibrancy, as well as just keeping your hairs, the color really intact in the hair shaft, if that makes sense. And not only do the chemical dyes or bleach, they also they strip your hair of its natural moisture. So this makes your hair incredibly coarse when you touch it. It's really porous. It's got that kind of straw-like feel. And so you want to be making sure that if you're going through those harsh treatments, that you're using some sort of formulation that's targeted in that strengthening and to repair each layer of the hair strand. And bleaching actually makes your hair strands swell. And so then this makes it so the bleach is able to reach the inner part of the hair strand. And if you're curious to learn more about like our hair cycle, as well as just the hair strand in general, like the different layers, then I highly recommend for you to check out our next live stream on Facebook, because we'll be going into that a little bit more. But all of these processes make your hair incredibly porous, brittle, super vulnerable to breakage, incredibly fragile. So the permanent changes in your hair structure are going to be as a result of these treatments. There is these chemical dyes and bleach do get to those inner layers of the hair. So it can actually make your hair less strong as well as less elastic. So we want to be making sure that we're not only increasing the keratin or also protein. We need something that's going to be really nourishing and moisturizing and help bring that life back to your hair. So I'm just going to use a little bit in here because this stuff is too good to rinse out. And that is something you should keep in mind, because you don't rinse out your skincare or moisturizers. Think of, you need the extra protection of the hair shaft. So you want to think of this as like a moisturizer that's really going to have those active ingredients, just like we know in our skincare, that are really going to restore and lock in those antioxidants, as well as those nutrients that really promote a healthy hair and scalp. So the next thing I want to talk about is if you're someone who's suffering from maybe like really dry, dull, kind of lifeless, weighed down, limp hair, and you just don't really know what is the cause or what to do about it. So damaged hair sometimes can really lack a lot of those necessary oils that really coat the hair, as well as the hair strand, like the cortex, as well as the cuticle, I should say. And without this natural oil and moisture, then your hair really loses its shine. I don't know if you've seen that. I've certainly seen that following my hair treatments. So we want to be making sure, and the same thing goes with heat styling. And these are a dynamic duo in tandem, and we're actually running an amazing sale for this weekend only. This offer expires on the 1st of November, but you can get either of these. You don't have to pick up both, but I highly recommend that you do. For $30 off with the code BEATTHEHEAT at checkout, and you also get free shipping. And we stand by our products by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you are not happy with the results, which we stand by the performance and purity of every single ingredient in this product, so I know you'll be so happy. But we do have that 30-day money-back guarantee, so it is like a risk-free for you to give this a shot. Trust me, there's no product on the market that has this type of formulation nor potency, especially with fenugreek. If you haven't heard about fenugreek for hair, I highly recommend for you to look it up. For centuries, women have been using it in India to help really restore and help promote an environment for optimal hair growth. So really, healthy hair starts at a healthy scalp. So we want to be making sure we're using something that's very gentle. That also in our hair care regimen is formulated for like dry hair. If you have some greasy hair, this would be really great as well to really draw out those impurities. We have activated charcoal kaolin clay, which is a really titanium-rich clay that really works to absorb those impurities of the hair and scalp. But I want to make sure, with this dry and dullness, make sure to look at your hair care routine and find some products that are really formulated for dry hair. So with that being said, with a lot of those products that are formulated for dry hair, they have so many conditioning ingredients, and we're all familiar with silicones these days. And I want to say that what's so great about Save Me From, we're silicone free, sulfate free, so we're incredibly gentle for the hair, but there's no band-aid effect. You're not just getting silicones coated onto your hair and then making you think your hair is healthy or look shiny, because those are coating the hair shaft and also the cuticle. So you want to be making sure that you are actually not getting that buildup that's weighing your hair down. So this is where product overload, this is our gentle clarifying treatment, really absorbs those impurities of not only the hair, but also the scalp. But you want to be making sure that your hair care routine is really free of those harsh detergents. We're familiar with sulfates, to try to find a hair care regimen that does not have sulfates. Those are really, really harsh detergents that can actually strip the hair of its moistures, as well as the necessary oils that you need in your hair. So not only does this have the impurity, absorption of oil, as well as product build up, because with those conditioning ingredients, the silicones will weigh down your hair. So you need to be using a clarifying treatment. And this is color safe. So if you're someone who colors your hair like myself, you will not see any fading of your hair color after using this. So it's incredibly gentle, yet incredibly effective and moisturizing. We have multi-hyaluronic acid, so we have different molecular weights of hyaluronic acid that really work to absorb into every single layer of the hair strand. And I highly recommend to check out our Facebook Live, which will talk about the hair strand, as well as the cycles of hair growth. So I did kind of talk a little bit about thermal obsession, but I want to bring into, another cause of hair damage that you're looking and need to combat, especially, with cumulative effects of heat styling. So styling your hair with heat can actually cook your hair. Actually, if the water that is on your hair gets to a certain point of being boiled temperature, this actually make the hair strand blister and actually pop. And then this makes your hair incredibly weak. It also raises and fuses the cuticles together, makes your hair incredibly prone to breakage, and also makes your hair not only your cuticles like fuse together, but makes them raised. So then they look a little bit more frizzy as a result. And especially too, if you color treat your hair, you're probably experiencing this from the dryness and porosity of your hair. And so we want to be making sure, if we're heat styling our hair, that we need to be making sure we're combating those adverse effects by either using a heat styling treatment, reducing the heat on our hair, reducing the temperature we're at. That can actually make your hair really prone to this heat styling damage that we see so often. But one thing I recommend is, not only if you are someone who blow dries your hair a lot, blow drying your hair at a distance, because blow dryers are incredibly notorious for that hair damage. And we're seeing a huge trend with a lot of these blow drying brushes, making it so much more convenient to have that salon kind of like style blowouts. As I'm sure as myself, that we've had some dry bar addictions that have not been so healthy for our hair or our wallets. So I see a lot of us are getting a little bit more creative with our hairstyling techniques. But if you do blow dry your hair, I highly recommend that you actually use a brush separate from the blow dryer, because the farther at a distance, if they're about 6 inches away, then this can actually help reduce the damage that you might see from that heat. But if you're not someone who is really interested about that, I highly recommend to reduce the heat setting and how often you heat style. You can get really creative about having heat-free waves. I did a braid with an overnight treatment of thermal obsession, because it's so moisturizing, and I love it for incredible shine, as well as just really helps kind of plump up my hair. So it just gives me that really beautiful shine. But yeah, so I highly recommend that if you are someone who heat styling is inevitable for you, to reduce the heat and distance that you are treating your hair. Another adverse type of effect that we might see is our hair could be incredibly tangly. So tangles can actually make your hair be incredibly susceptible to breakage, but the raised cuticles can actually create more friction in the hair and actually grab onto other strands more aggressively than if it was to be sleek and have smooth and close cuticles. So fenugreek actually works to help the cuticle lie flat. It really helps with this mucilaginous fiber, helps really get into those deep layers of the hair strand, and really helps to kind of mend any of those cracks. It helps the cuticle lie a lot smoother. So not only is that going to help with the tangles that you might be seeing in your hair, but also like the knots that you might be experiencing. If you're someone who's got really fine hair and it's very, very prone to being tangled, I highly recommend that you tie your hair back when you go to sleep at night, whether that is in a nice bun or braids. And especially too, if you're going to use these as an overnight treatment, which you're going to find the best results, you use just one pump per section of your hair. I section my hair into about 3 to 6 different sections, and taking one pump of product into the hair. And then this will really help increase the moisture as well as just reduce the effects of tangles or knots in your hair. And then you'll actually, when you unwind your braids or your bun the next day, you're going to have some beautiful, natural, heatless waves. So it's a win-win. Okay, so we talked about chemicals. So let's go ahead and talk about aging. So when we age, we're starting to see some really thinness in our hair, as well as just some difference in our textures and in the hair texture. So especially if your hair is growing out gray, these can actually have some just kind of wiry and really rough textures. April loves this. I love this product too. I stand by, this is my holy grail in my regimen. And it's not just formulated for somebody who's aging and going through changes in their hair texture. This really helps to soften your hair, especially if maybe you have got coarser hair and you have textured hair. You're really looking for that softening, nourishing effect, not only to your scalp, but to the ends of your hair that might be kind of rough, also very frayed and frizzy. This is going to really help just kind of smooth the hair, restore its moisture, and really help actually over time thicken the hair. And this is actually one of our most popular formulations. We sell this actually on QVC, and on one of our airings we completely sold out of this in like a few minutes. So get your hands on this right now. This is being filmed in October. We are with any full size purchase of a reboot, that full price purchase, you can also get a little mini of age acceleration to try. Just enter code BOO at checkout. But that promotion expires tomorrow on Halloween, so 10/31, October 31st. So make sure you get your hands on that, especially if you're looking to really restore and replenish that hair damage at home without having to do one of those at-home formulations that you really don't know what effects they're going to have on your hair. It's so messy. It's so much work. I think at one point I did like an avocado hair mask, and I don't think I'll ever do that again. So now that I've discovered Save Me From, there's no reason to. Because none of those at-home type of treatments are really going to work to restore the damage that you might be incurring just from life and different styling and things you do to your hair, because we do a lot more to our hair than we do with our skin. With our skin, we are so advantageous about protecting and really against anti-aging or aging. So we're really proactive for anti-aging. And so the same thing goes with your hair, especially if you omit your hair care regimen. You're going to see all of these effects come down later down the road, whether that is breakage or your hair is incredibly frizzy and dry. And it's just really, unpleasant to even touch, and it gets tangled and knotted so easily. These products are really going to restore and revive that hair that's maybe lifeless, dull, greasy. We have every single formulation for whatever your concern is. And we do have a 30-day money-back guarantee. We stand by every single one of these skin-worthy actives as well. Creatine, caffeine that stimulates the scalp. Creatine helps build bonds into the hair, especially if your hair is weak. We also have panthenols, which really help, that's an antioxidant that really helps to nourish the strand. We also have Brazilian silkworm proteins, which helps really infuse that strength and nourishment to the scalp. So then there's an optimal environment for that hair growth. And I highly recommend check out fenugreek for hair growth. It's incredible. So we also have pollution assault here. So if you're someone who's traveling a lot or like living in a very populous city, you want to be making sure that you are protecting your hair, because the dust and debris, smog, exhaust, all of these pollutants will take a toll on your hair, making your hair look really flat and very dull and very dry. And free radicals can really decrease the hair of the hydration that really makes your hair really shiny and very vibrant and healthy. So you want to make sure you're purifying your hair, since we really can't necessarily purify the air outside with what, just our environment. We can't always control that as much as we'd like to. Pollution assault is really your trusty friend here to help combat that. And I know a lot of you may be really interested and swear by like hair oils, but actually if you live in like one of those urban environments, that oil can actually make those pollutants cling onto the hair and eat away at the hair shaft, which can have incredibly detrimental effects to your hair's integrity and strength. Very, very prone to breakage. You'll also just have a lot of flyaways because of that breakage. So you want to be making sure you're keeping that at bay. This has a really incredible softening and shining effect to your hair. It really makes your hair incredibly smooth. I love using this as like an in-styling beach type of wave, and I'll do a video on that actually here soon, because I've been seeing that beach waves are all the craze, especially with like sea salt spray. We're so familiar with that, but that actually really makes your hair dry. It really wicks the moisture out of your hair, and so you actually don't want to be doing that, especially with your styling treatments. It's almost just like the same thing when you're curling your hair, and you think you're doing yourself and your hair some benefit by not using heat, but when you're using these really dry ingredients that really absorb the moisture and natural oils of the hair and scalp, then you're going to see some adverse effects down the line. So that concludes today's live stream video. I appreciate you all joining in today. I'm going to gear up for our Facebook live stream, because we are going to talk about the various cycles of hair growth, and as well as really how that with Save Me From, really how to improve the appearance of thicker hair as well as density of the hair. So we're going to talk about a lot of the different cycles of hair growth, and maybe where you may experience some breakage that really makes your hair less dense. So we want to be making sure we're doing everything in our power to avoid that breakage in our hair. So I will join you at Save Me From USA's Facebook page for our live stream here at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much for tuning in to this live stream, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.